Hi.
And today we're going to be asking the question in the title. So, Carrina, please tell us about your strengths.
Oh, we did strengths this video. That's good. I was nervous about the weaknesses video. Strengths. Okay, I just jump right into it.
That's it. That's a strength.
Okay. This question is weird, and the reason is because a lot of like personal qualities can either be strong in one situation or weaknesses in another situation. So I feel like what is your strengths is a question that can be answered in both of these videos. Like, what are your strengths and weaknesses? And it could apply depending on the situation you're talking about. Okay, so
if you give us those situations, that would be good.
Well, specifically, if I'm really interested in something, I can be really good at it or really fast at it, and I can do it very well. Such as, well, I like speedy physical work, first of all.
Such as?
Such as packing boxes really fast.
Right.
Moving bricks. I know that's really random and a strange thing for a female to say, but it's true. Anything that I have to do really fast, or that I have to force myself to be as quick as possible.
Could you see yourself in construction?
I've done construction.
Ooh, what was that like? And what was it like from the men? What kind of reaction? What was the interaction like, and all that kind of stuff?
I put them to shame. That's what it was like. People were always commenting how bad I made all the guys look. I've worked in multiple jobs like that. So yeah, construction is great because there's always something to do. There's always something, and then you actually can literally finish the task and then move on to something else. So you get a good feeling of success each time you do something like that. And then
did you get paid well?
Go ahead. No.
Oh, when I worked
in construction, I was part of the remember the youth build program I told you about, that we worked and we got our GED, we did studies, and we tore down some houses and stuff and rebuilt them for the community.
Right, because if you actually went into like the private sector, skilled labor gets paid really well. Really well.
And that's actually a job that's in high demand around here.
Yep.
Because I looked it up. I don't know why I didn't think about pursuing that, but it just wasn't something that I considered, although the schooling would be a lot less time and be a lot less expensive. Even doing something like electrical work would be a quick thing. I don't want to do an apprenticeship. That's the thing.
But yeah, the wages are really good for skilled labor. And really good.
They can be. If you can land good jobs, but jobs are always temporary, which is fine. I actually prefer that. The jobs that are not temporary and have good long-term benefits, they're jobs I wouldn't really want, and if I did, there are not that many openings. They're in high demand. So
also in that area, you can do stuff off the books, if you know what I mean.
What kind of stuff?
Jobs off the books.
I did that recently, actually. I had a job putting some floor down for somebody in painting. This was only like a month ago. And actually the person, I showed up and they told me they were going to pay me that day. And I showed up for my payment and to work. And they were just like, oh, I don't want to pay you right now. It's like, you're going to pay me now. I was like, I don't think so. And I got so mad. Like, I spent like 2 days brewing over it. And then I went up to the guy. I was like, you're going to have to pay me. There's no other way around it. You're going to have to do it. Because you said you would. Now you said you would at this time. And if you can't do it when you say you're going to do it, I can't trust you to work for you more.
Yeah, and you can always say, I can always undo what I've done.
No. No, refusing to work for somebody is a good enough treatment for them.
But yeah,
it's already
But just general advice.
Low to the ego.
But in terms of the amount of money that you have to spend to go to trade school compared to how much you can earn a year, maybe like 60,000. I think it's like $60,000. I think.
Around here, it would be more 35 to 50, probably.
But also the potential of starting your own business in a trade and then becoming a millionaire. Most people, they become a millionaire through a trade. If it's a local business, it's not living in New York or California. Most millionaires,
I know a lot of people who do that right now. You know, and they do make good money. They can spend a week on a paint job for 3 rooms and end up making $1,500.
And then once they've done all that work, they don't have to go to the gym afterwards, so they get a workout as well.
Yeah, unless they have like very physical jobs and they're just moving 24/7, and then their body just never rests enough to recover. That can be bad, because then you just start losing weight and just like you get fat and then all your muscle deteriorates. if you're too active and don't eat enough.
So if you're too active, you put weight on.
If you're too active and you don't eat enough to maintain your muscle, you can actually put weight on and lose your muscle.
If you don't have enough protein.
You'll get a bunch of belly fat, but you won't get a lot of fat other places.
Okay, yeah. If people eat in a weird way, maybe. You know, we don't want to break
carbs.
We don't want to break the laws of physics with this.
What are the laws of physics?
Well, if you're like expending a load of energy and hardly eating anything yet putting on weight.
Right. Yeah.
I mean,
I get it now. Sorry.
Right.
You cannot talk about scientific laws because my mind just draws a blank, and I'm like, which one?
So when you were working in construction, which things could you do well, and which things couldn't you do just because of the strength?
That's a good question. My first reaction was to say I did it all well, but that's not really true. Okay. I was putting some tile down on the floor. It's thick tile. It's like 1 inch thick. And you have to glue it down and stuff like that. But you only get so many tiles, and you have this cutter thing. You have to measure from one corner. You have to measure, then you have to write down the measurements, and then you have to, for some stupid reason, you have to measure the tiles, and then you have to subtract the amount from the last tile, and then you have to cut the tile, fit it in the corner, and then move out from that tile so that the other tiles will fit squarely. I don't know why you have to do that, but you do. So with the one section, for some reason they gave me the section where I had to like cut and measure all the tiles, and what did I do? It took me like an hour, and I remember the funny comment by my boss. He was like, he came over, he looked at my workspace, and he said, "Carrina, I know you've been working for the past hour, but I don't know what you've been doing. Why is nothing done?" I couldn't measure it properly, so I don't know. It's really awkward.
Well, it's like you can like see intelligent people, but they try and do DIY, and they're just terrible, and just make a complete holics of it. And I've always admired like artisans that can like build stuff.
I can actually do that. I can build stuff. Excuse me. I can build stuff from scratch. And I can just come up with the materials. I'll know exactly what things I can use for it.
Was that Jack who moved in the background?
No.
Oh.
He's upstairs.
All right.
That's my nephew.
Because if you ever want to show Jack on screen, that would be fantastic.
Okay. Okay. And I'll ask him to wear a nice fedora.
And then what I would like to use that as the thumbnail.
Oh my god.
Post it on World Socialic Society, Jack and Carrina. In your band.
So wrong.
Carrina, I don't know if people are going to agree with this. Maria said that she thinks I've got a little ENFP inside of me.
Well, you definitely do when you get pumped up on caffeine before camera.
It's not caffeine, it's just iron brew. And
does it not have caffeine in it?
I don't think so. I'll have a look at the can.
Oh, surely.
Well, but yes. Someone can only behave like this if they're jazzed up on caffeine. It's the only explanation for such. Well, it does say some caffeine.
How much?
It just says including caffeine. Flavorings including caffeine.
Okay. It will say somewhere. Well, you guys don't have American labels, so I don't know. They have to tell you how much.
Yeah, American labels are better.
Are they?
Yeah,
That's impressive.
In England, they used to have like they still have numbers, which stand for certain chemicals, whereas in America, like they have to put the actual chemical on there. Right. Anyhow, so
yes, they do put the actual chemical. I had a period in my life where I was like checking all the chemicals to figure out exactly what they were, which ones were synthetic, which ones were not.
It's like when you have like your INTJs and INTPs to understand the kind of intelligence that artisans have, right? And they don't respect them. Is just get them to try and do some DIY, or like do some work on a car, and then they'll realize the intelligence that artisans have. That it's a completely different kind of intelligence, but.
People don't usually question my intelligence unless they're just a really, really smart person. And I'm trying to engage in conversation that I don't understand.
Well, that's the thing, because like they're just judging. They're being bigoted about their own kind of intelligence, thinking that that's the only one. Okay.
Yeah. Maybe.
That's why David Kersey, he came up with 4 kinds of intelligence. He said that the artisans have a tactical brain. The rationals have, the NTs have a strategic brain. The guardians have a logistical brain, and the NFs have a diplomatic brain. So.
Okay.
So you did well in construction.
Mm-hmm.
You held your own. You won the respect of the men there.
Mm-hmm. That happens in any job that's physical. That happens. I mean, I generally tend to just like naturally just become the team leader because of my ability to go ahead and pick up how these things work and apply it, and just get the job done, basically.
You are such an artisan. You're literally an artisan.
Oh wow, a freaking personality theory that I fit into well. That's crazy.
But also have this other side where you're interested in the theoretical thing. But yeah, that'd be a question: is why are you interested in typology?
I find it interesting. That's it. Well, I mean, people.
That's what I thought. It's like with Jeff. Jeff has said that he's not interested in psychology at all. He's interested in people. And so
I like. Well, it's a networking tool. I mean, it's a social network for me. You have Facebook and stuff like that, and it's you have your online social networks, and then you have the groups within Facebook, and it's a closer social network, and you can talk about. You have more organized discussions and stuff like that. So instead of just not knowing what to talk about, you have a topic to talk about.
Yeah, you have that this shorthand of that's right.
What?
Yeah, this shorthand of. I was thinking about something else. I got distracted.
Okay, what about the shorthand?
Well, as you said, that it's like you've got people interacting with people, talking about models of people rather than real people. With whereas people like Jeff, Jeff would talk about real people, but a lot of the NTs, it's like they're communicating with people about models, really. And
Yeah.
And it's
See, I actually find that part interesting as well, though.
Yeah.
It's not, I mean, not that easy for me. Like, probably the model, Augusta's model is probably like the last thing that I learned on socionics. Like, I'm actually still learning it, sort of.
Yeah, I remember doing some hangouts with you where like I had my early graphics and I was like explaining Model A because I was like super excited about it.
Yeah, exactly.
I sort of had it on the wall and pointing the webcam at it. Right, so construction, practical intelligence, and in fact, what I can do is, this is technically not part of this, but what I can do is I can ask you something about certain bullet points from, because I was going through it with Jeff last night. And I think it's good that we went through it because because then I can ask you about these certain things. It's just the bullet points and the TE, that extroverted thinking, that practical thinking.
Okay. I mean, if
so
you want to go through that, we can.
Yeah, it just. I mean, we are going to probably go through this more formally in future, but
okay.
But we can sort of like go through a little bit of it now. I'll just what's this in the side? It's just a little preview for people of
okay.
of the Model G profile, and we are sort of assuming Carrina's an ESFP here, but
yeah, I've been telling people when they ask me that I am a Gamma SF, and I basically just refuse to categorize myself further, and that people can just think whatever they want.
Yeah, it's like, I mean,
we'll just go ahead and use this as if I were.
I mean, it's like, I mean, that first bullet point there, active and adventurous when it comes to practical activities, especially in the field of communications or service industries. And so it's like,
I don't know what that means. What does being practical and adventurous have to do with communications or service industries? Does that mean like generally, like they're pioneering in those fields, basically?
well, you want to talk about the artisans, the ability to improvise with tools, and I suppose you could say that that is adventurous in that they will come up with a practical solution, and then it's talking about well, those ESFPs that are not in construction, where generally just like as that kind of SF, where they are going to be good with people, and especially in the dynamic situations where it's not a routine, where they can respond naturally, and they can respond in the moment, and so good at PR, that kind of thing, service industries. And then this idea about business initiatives. Right, so we're just sort of going through this a little. So that first bullet point fits like artisans, and then if we skip down to like the penultimate bullet point, will quickly change his tactics to see new circumstances leading to more favourable terms. So do you think you're quite
flexible? I agree with that. I don't want to say that I'm very flexible compared to other people, but because I can be very inflexible at times. But when it comes to, I will be following a path, and I'll say, okay, this isn't prosperous anymore. I'm moving on to this thing that's more prosperous.
Yeah.
And I'll do that with no regrets. I'll just cut it off and move to the next thing.
Right. So okay. I always feel a little bit of a loss when you switch the mic off. It's like I'm done talking now. You gotta talk now, Ben.
Sorry.
Right. So
I'm trying to like cut out background noise.
Oh, well, the only thing that's worth cutting out is the train.
Okay.
I don't know how you sleep when it goes by in the night.
You get used to it, or it adds to your stress levels, like slowly over time, and you die of a heart attack, but you don't know that it was because of the train that you learned how to ignore.
Do you think that, like, an ISTJ, it would, like, really get on their nerves?
Maybe, but maybe not, because like my ESFP sister, she'll like, the train will go by and she'll go like, what the fuck, dude? Because it'll just like honk really, really loud.
Right.
I think the SD types are like more stressed out. I don't know.
Right. So adaptable. Can you give us some situations where you've been adaptable?
I mean, it's just weird to talk. I mean, it's weird to think about it like that because I'm generally adaptable when it comes to like.
Maybe some things happened when you're in the construction area, where something happened and you had to be adaptable.
Do you mean like just as a whole, or do you mean like when something messes with things that you want to happen and you have to change what you're doing?
Yeah, I mean, just generally where, just a situation that's changing and you have to adapt.
Okay.
You have to improvise.
What I can say is if I set a goal and I know that I can achieve that goal and I'm moving towards it, I don't like have to deviate. And not only do I not like it, it makes me very angry that I'm being forced to adapt, but I can. But on the other hand, I prefer situations that I'm in to have a lot of changeability. I like it when my environment demands new things from me. And basically, I don't want it to be consistent all the time. I want a job to end. I want to be working at a different site. I want to finish one task and move on to a new task. I want to. So I'll have a problem sometimes where I'll get bored of my task and I'll go take a break because I'm like, okay, I need to get refreshed because I'm really bored. And then I'll go back, or I'll lose, or I won't go back and I'll lose my lose my momentum. Okay, so yeah, was that a good answer? I don't know.
Yeah.
Would you like me to try to think more about that?
Do you tend to have one goal and you'll stick to the goal, but you're quite flexible with changing the means in order to achieve that goal, but you don't like changing the goal?
See, that's, again, it's very, very situational. It depends on how bad I want the thing. Okay, let's put it like this. Most, if not all of my goals apply to one singular thing that I want in the future. Like, I want a thing. I want this. And then I have other things that will bring me this thing. Whatever's going to bring me the thing, I'll use.
Right.
If that makes any sense. Okay, so let's say I have a career goal. But here's a career that I want. I don't want the career. I want the money that it's going to bring me. And I want the fulfillment in my life. So as long as that job is going to bring me that fulfillment, I'll stick with it. But if that job does not bring me my fulfillment, I'll do whatever I can to change that job into something else. So there's a little difficulty here with the term goal. What is the goal? The goal really is satisfaction in life.
Yeah.
Quality of living, happiness, and in a way, I just want to live my life. I want to have enough money to live my life I don't need a lot of money to be happy. What I need is the ability to bring myself new situations and well, obviously, there's a minimum standard of living. I have to have food. I have to have food in the house. But beside that, I don't really care. I just want new experiences. That's basically it. I want to be able to surround myself with things that will provide internal satisfaction with my experiences in the world. Wow, that sounded dumb.
No, that sounded.
It's like
that sounded very good because that fits the pretty much fits everything that David Kersey talks about, the artisans.
I feel like that's like a basic human thing, though. Like everybody wants that.
Well, I think it's accentuated where you said there that where you're talking about it's not the career that you want, it's the money that the career brings. Whereas,
and also this, I want the career also to bring me life situations that I'll enjoy. Like I want to be learning things. I want to be learning things. I want to be gaining skills. I want to be meeting new people. That aspect I don't care as much about. I just don't want to have to like be around the same people forever and be really bored with them. So it's new things that I need. I need to learn new things, and then when I'm happy with learning those, I need to learn more new things. Hopefully, see, a lot of people that I know that I actually respect their opinions and their foresight about things. Like they would say that the job doesn't matter if it brings you money and you're contributing to the world. But for me, it's like I would never even consider doing a job that doesn't contribute to the world. I would never consider doing that. But you know, at the same time, I have to be doing something that's interesting, or I won't do a very good job.
I think that
I won't do a good job at all.
I think you said something there that other types find, and maybe Delta types or Guardians in general, it's like what they find hardest to understand about artisans is what you said there about, oh, you don't want to be with the same people all the while. You want new and interesting people. And so other types might think, what, don't they love them? No, it's just like part of your temperament that you want different people around you.
I do. I need to. I mean, it is superficial. I understand people deeply already. I don't need to go around understanding every person deeply because people are basically the same. I want to know the new things about people that are different from person to person, and those things are easy to learn over a very short period of time. So once I learn those things, it becomes more boring dealing with the people. Obviously, I have people that I enjoy more, and those people I want in my life more, but I would hopefully not see them as much so that it would be more of a treat and I won't get tired of them.
Very much that fits artisan in the now. Yep. I was just looking at the table of traits. Yeah, I'll just for anyone watching, I'll put that up.
Yeah, go ahead. Think of anything else to say regarding that.
Yeah, I mean, it's got here orientation, hedonism. So
I'm hedonistic. I could say that I wasn't because I aspire to not be openly, but I mean I am. It's a reality.
Yeah, but also artisans are practical people, and they realize that in order to be hedonistic, that they need to do practical things first in order to get to that point where there's the payoff.
Yeah. Yep.
And maybe ENFP is not quite as good at that as ESFP.
I don't consider it a payoff. I consider it life, but like it's life. There's no institution should tell me what, like, people are basic biological creatures. Like they have certain things that are natural for them to do, and those are things that I feel are things that I'm going to take because just as a birthright, you deserve to have things like food. You know what I mean? So
yeah.
For me, it's not a reward. That's what I deserve already.
Right.
For being alive, for being a human being.
Yep. So we've got so like the interest there of Guardians, like an education that would be focused on art craft.
See, I can't do that.
Well,
I've never thought that was very practical.
But you did that with construction.
Okay.
That's all.
Fair enough. I was saying that as more practical, but okay. Because I associate that with like houses.
All right. Where it says there preoccupation with technique, did you, and when you were working in construction, did you take pride in your work and doing a good job?
Yeah. Yeah, definitely. I can focus on details really well, especially if I know that my work might be evaluated or something like that. I spend a lot of time making sure it's perfect. Well, if it's a good day and if I'm actually focused on doing the thing, and I'm not in like a shitty mood where I'm just like, I hate painting or something like that.
Right.
So, yeah, detail oriented when it comes to crafts. I focus in on the physical details of what I'm doing.
Do you always want to keep busy? Always want to keep doing something?
Yes, very much.
Even if it's typing stuff up for me.
So sometimes I have to make time for those things, but no, like even if I'm being lazy, I still have to be doing something.
Ah.
Like people can look at me and think I'm being extremely lazy, but I'm really doing like mental exercises for myself because I'm, entertaining myself. It's still external.
Do you think you're an Enneagram 7?
Say it again.
Do you think you're an Enneagram 7?
Oh, I think you asked me this before, and my answer was basically that I don't know, and I have recently considered it. But
the reason I ask is that when the 7 integrates, they go to 5. So maybe that's like you becoming interested in theoretical things to a certain extent, where you're sort of like moving to 5. Where
what
the Enneagram,
would they disintegrate to?
1, 4, 2, 8, 5, 7, probably to 1. I think.
That's a possibility. I don't know.
I don't quite know what that looks like.
I think it just becomes a neat freak and always questioning everything that everybody does, and everything has to be perfect, but not themselves. Everyone else has to be doing things the way they want.
Yeah.
Okay, so the short answer is I don't know, but the longer answer is that in the past I have said that the 7 is the least likely type for me, but I have decided that I just wasn't aware of my behavior, and now that I'm more aware of my behavior, it's like I feel that if I was an Enneagram 7, I wouldn't know that because I was so focused on the exterior that I couldn't even notice that I was focused on the exterior.
Gotcha.
If that makes any sense.
Yeah, because you're not doing the self-reflection. You're in the moment.
Mm-hmm. And even when I'm doing self-reflection, I'm reflecting on how I feel right this second. So it's still in the moment. I'm not getting any insight into my behavior because my behavior is what I'm doing. I'm self-reflecting. So I'm watching myself reflect. So every time I go to self-reflect, that's the data that I get. Oh, I self-reflect.
Yeah, I mean, that might be going towards 5. So it's like, there's an old expression that says the unexamined life is not worth living. But then the counterpoint to that is the unlived life is not worth examining.
The unlived life is. I'm more likely to say the second one. I don't know what that's referencing.
Yeah,
oh, okay.
Yeah, that's the thing. Yeah, but that's what all the practical people would say to like INTP is like.
Really.
It was like INTJs is like, you gotta live your life. Don't think too much. You need some balance.
See, I mean, I don't mind thinking because I am a feeler. I like to squeeze enjoyment out of my experiences, but yeah, I don't want to think too much because then I'll just get annoyed and I'll just be thinking about how annoyed I am.
Right, and that is like 7 moving to 5, where the 7 learns to think a bit more. I think, in a theoretical knowledge type way. This sort of fits the strengths theme of this hangout, where it's got for self-image. So, do you think part of your self-esteem is being artistic, creative?
Excuse me, I just almost choked on an apple.
Oh, okay.
No, I don't think so.
But I've seen. Oh dear.
Oh no,
Do you want to get some
I can
water?
explain. Oh no, I'm fine.
Okay.
I can explain that more. Myself, I consider feelings to be self-originating or emergent, as in they're just a state of being and they don't need an object. As in, I don't need a reason to have self-esteem. It's just because I'm a person, that should be
Oh,
a
okay.
normal state of being.
Do you feel? You mentioned something before when you were proud of doing some good work when you were doing construction, and so do you generally feel that you're good at those kind of things that require skill?
Yeah, sure.
And you feel proud of the work. I think I can't remember. You might have shown me some painting, or.
I mean, I generally do sort of feel proud of those things, but it's kind of self-lived. And again, I don't think the feeling of pride is dependent on some output. Well, I get more enjoyment out of other people being able to reap the rewards of something that I create for them. So possibly the pride moment happens when I present something for someone else and I'm being selfless or something.
Yeah.
But I mean, other than that, no. I mean, I don't really feel that much of a connection to the things that I create in the moment. Yeah, but.
Do you feel that you have self-respect for being a bold and audacious person? Somebody who can stand up for themselves, that kind of thing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, every time I have a situation where I have to do that, yes, that's correct about me.
If you could give us some examples of where you've been bold.
Okay. You know, when you say that, the only things that come to my mind is times where I've had problems being bold. Rather than, because I think the boldness is almost my natural state, and then if I have to try, then I'm having to summon up courage, and I'm not being bold in the moment. So
well, I would say that is the key thing of artisans, is both their greatest strength and their weakness is their boldness.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I agree with that. Yeah, it can be a weakness. I mean, I can give you a lot of examples where I've been bold, and I think we've gone over them in the past videos, and often I feel, let's see, what's the right word? Almost ashamed of moments where I've had to put myself in those positions where I've had to be pushy. But hold on just one moment.
Okay. Yeah, that's okay. I'll fill a bit. I think she's talked about where she has. I think Carrina has travelled places and been adventurous, and you could say that that is quite bold. Where you've almost gone outside of your comfort zone. You've been adventurous now.
Sorry. Yeah. Okay, so sorry about that. Had to switch devices there. Thanks.
just because you felt
I kind of
like
missed what you were saying.
Yeah, just because you felt like the impulse in the moment.
I can't sit down for that long.
There you go. So yeah, but I think in terms of boldness, in terms of you have been adventurous, I think. Like,
Yeah.
Examples?
Oh yeah, there are plenty of examples of that. Often I have, for no reason other than I wanted to, got up and decided that it would be a great idea for me to relocate and leave everything that I own somewhere and never look back.
Wow.
Yeah, I don't consider that adventurous, really. I just consider it like, I don't know, I don't have that many connections to a lot of things. I don't know what I'm trying to explain right now. Okay, so yeah, I like to travel. Sometimes I like to decide I'm going to do something, and then I'll pull together all the resources that it requires, and then I'll just jump right into it without thinking about it.
Right. And do you think
that happens often?
And do you think that because you've done that so much, that you're actually good at adapting to those new experiences because you've done it before?
I don't think that it's because I've done it before. I think it's because I'm actually always living in the moment so much that adaptability is.
Yep.
This might sound a little cliche or silly, but I feel like I'm at one with my experiences. So
yeah.
What changes, I enjoy it. That's what I want. I want things to change around me, so I have to adapt to them.
Right.
But no, I don't think it's because I've done it before. I mean,
well, I just sort of meant like naturally that people would develop a skill of improvising, where they just like, so they know where they're good at it. And obviously there's like a mental skills involved of, even if it becomes unconscious, where, oh, I can adapt to this moment, I can do this, I know I can, in various other situations.
Oh, like pumping yourself up?
Yeah, it's just that you know, yeah, you know you can handle it. That similar types of situations before.
Yeah.
Even if you're not
little kid, I did that, but nowadays it would be more likely that I would do the, no, be consistent. Don't be so changeable. I'd have to pump myself up to stay consistent.
Yeah, right. Carrina, you are you are so much an artist, and yet you have this intellectual side as well.
Well, maybe I'm an NF.
Yeah, but it's just a different. Pardon, what did you say?
I was actually wanting to see if, because I have this phone now and it's on my leg, and I was kind of yelling at you, and I just wanted to make sure that it wasn't like I was like literally yelling into the camera and hurting everyone's ears.
Okay.
So that's what I was about to say. Right. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
Well, at the moment we've got a bright light coming into the camera.
Oh, I'll fix that. There we go. How's that?
Wow.
This will change in just. Hold on. I'll fix it. Okay. I'll fix it just in case there's any SJs watching.
SJs, yeah.
Oh, just.
So, okay. Right. So, would you do you value being excited?
Yeah.
Ah.
I don't even have to think about that one.
Can you give us some examples, please?
Okay. Trying to think. I mean, okay, the best example I can give you is that when I'm not excited, it makes me really annoyed.
Right.
Okay. Oh, sorry, I'll try harder.
What sort of things make you excited?
What's I like to experience new things.
Right. Yeah.
Okay, I know we're going back to the same thing. That's not an example. Okay, I'm gonna have to really think about that one because it's not something I've ever considered before. Okay, if I get on a train and I drive, like I just look out the window for like 3 days, and I'm just like seeing all these new faces, and I don't even have to say anything or interact with anyone. I can just be happy that I'm moving, like I'm on the go. I'm like looking at different things. Oh yeah, I like doing original things. Like I went to Vermont, I think, with some friends and created a sweat lodge. And we put together all these branches into like a dome, and you dig a hole, you put hot rocks in there. It's kind of like a sauna, but it's more of like a spiritual thing.
Yep.
I liked doing that. That made me excited. Just because it's new.
So, what new things have you done this year?
This year. Sorry, I'm talking to my sister. Can I have one of those?
It's okay.
Okay. Okay, well, I got I switched schools, that's new.
Yep.
Well, some of the things I don't like talking about openly.
Okay.
Okay, I switched schools, that's new. Got a new job, that was new, and then I quit that job. And that was new too. Oh, I got a gym membership. I started going to the gym for a while, like every day. That was a new experience. Not a brand new experience, but it's a new gym and stuff. So.
One of the things that Jeff has said about artisans, he said, whatever we do the hell out of it.
Yeah, that's exactly the situation.
Do you trust your impulses?
Sometimes. I think I've learned that I shouldn't trust my impulses as much as I may have previously thought. As for the question you just asked before that, you said, what was it? I'm sorry, I forgot.
The new things that you've done this year, I think it was.
Oh, you said you do the hell out of it if it's, when you do it, you do the hell of it. Okay.
Yeah. Yes, Jeff quote.
Sometimes I'm extremely underwhelmed at a situation that I find mundane and I don't want to do it at all. Right. And then I don't do the hell out of it. I just like do it like very, unenthusiastically. If I can pump myself up to do the ways prefer, like if I don't feel like doing the dishes and I'm going to have to do them slowly because I don't have the energy, I might wait like 3 hours until I feel like doing the hell out of them, and then I'll do the hell out of them.
Right.
If that further clarifies that for how I respond.
Right.
Yeah.
Do you yearn for impact?
What does that mean?
What
does impact mean in this context?
I think it means that when you do something, that you want to do it so well that you have people say, "Hey, that's good work. That's impress people."
Yeah. Oh yes, totally. Like I don't want to do anything if other people aren't going to see it.
Ah. Can you give us some examples?
Like artwork, all work. I mean, like even the situation we were talking about before, like the construction.
Yep.
I can, when I'm painting or something like that, I'm thinking about the details and I'm imagining if somebody's going to be looking at this, I want it to look really good. And then I'm thinking like, they're going to love it. I'm doing so good. They're going to love it. Yay.
Yep.
But it's not because like I'm doing good. It's because I'm presenting a good product for them.
Ah. And David Kersey Sr. called the ESFP the performer. And so like, that's your performance piece.
Yeah, I guess it would have to be, because I'm not like an extremely extroverted, excited person. Well, I mean, some people would say that I'm extremely, hyperactive, but many people would say that I'm not. So previously I had not been able to see the performer for myself. I always say something like, well, if I'm a performer, I'm a terrible one because, I don't perform. More recently, I've been able to see myself that way, though. So
Yeah,
Take that as you will.
when you talked about you want other people to see these things that you do, that could be an example of the creative FE in the ESFP, where it's like in their actions they do want to get positive feedback from people.
Yeah, I do. If people give me a lot of negative feedback, I'll just be like, whatever, I don't want to do this no more.
Yep. So, and here's an easy one for you. Do you think you seek stimulation?
I don't know if that's really that easy of a question, but I mean, sure, I guess. Yeah, I guess it's more like internal stimulation that I want to, like the previous comment about the excitement. I want the things that I'm interacting with to make me become like internally excited. I want to like excited at the world or whatever. Not that I always do. I mean, I'm a grown up, but.
Is one of the worst things that someone do to you is bore you? Is being bored?
No, that's not one of the worst things, but yes. Yeah, I totally see what you're saying. Oh my God, yeah. Like, that's why it didn't work out with my ex-boyfriend, the SLI. What is that, ISTJ?
Oh, I thought it was the new one. Yeah, ISTJ,
no,
yeah.
It was the new one. It's a different guy. That was 8 years ago, the one I'm talking about. I mean, I was with this guy for 3 years, and I thought that was a long relationship at the time. It's literally my longest relationship. Okay. Now after all this like socionic stuff, I feel like I could be the one that generates more excitement, but like I don't want to be the only one with that role. And like the SLI will do the opposite. Like they're trying to keep people like calm and like, you know, whatever, comfortable. And for me, that's just like, I don't want to be comfortable. Stop.
Do you think maybe if you went out with an ISTJ that had a bit more ENFP in them?
Well, the one that I'm dating is more like an ENFP because he likes to travel a lot. He's down for new experiences and stuff like that, and that's something that I look up to in him. That he's been to whatever 10 countries and stuff like that.
Yeah,
and he can, you know, I can. What?
He sounds really integrated, like one of those types that's really moved to like qualities that are like their jewel.
Mhm. Yeah, I haven't spent enough time with him to really evaluate that, so.
I always think
but
that
yeah, I think people become dualized. Yes.
I always think that the it's always good when people become more like they sort of, because I see it as integrating towards their jewel, where they become more rounded out.
Yeah, I agree with that. People who have grown up with a dual in their life, often they're hard to type. My little brother is an E, and I think that that's part of why it was hard to type me. At least for myself to type.
I mean, Jack has typed Stephen Fry as ESFJ, but I've seen like old clips of him. I think that Stephen Fry is an ENTP. It's just that he's integrated towards an ISFJ, and so he would appear as an ESFJ. Because
you'll have to send me a video of that guy because I don't know who you're talking about, but it is interesting. I'll definitely look at that because it's something I've observed myself. If you have these, sorry.
Yeah, I was just saying, like in clips of him from like 20 years ago, it's much more studious and like an NT, and now he's more emotional, and
yeah. Well, I guess it would happen as you get older, anyway, right?
Yeah, but what you said there about you've observed, so have you observed? I'm trying to get my words out. Have you observed EMTPs that have become more like ISFJs?
No, I've observed lots of different people that have grown up with, like, people within their quadra. Sometimes they can exhibit, like, what I would call, like, pure type tendencies, and then other times they can appear the opposite. But I just think that those types sometimes they're really hard to type, sometimes they're really easy to type. Like, I don't know.
When you say pure type, do you mean sort of, like, emblematic of all the values of that quadra?
I mean, like, they're so easy to, their type is so obvious that it jumps out at you.
Right.
You know, like, if you read the descriptions online, you're like, oh, well, this is definitely that person.
Right.
My LS mother and ESC mother, they were both, very easy to pick out. Go ahead.
Here's one that people should go beyond the step and realize that artisans are very generous. So, because Jeff has talked about this, could you give us some examples of how you've been generous? Because you did talk a bit about doing some volunteer work.
Well, I would use smaller examples, and that is that, and this I think is an SF quality, the SF club.
Yeah.
We're attuned to people. The world looks like people to us, and we do all the actions that we do have to do with what outcomes we're creating for the people in our life. So for me, like I said before, like if I do art, I don't have any of my artwork. I wouldn't be able to show you any because I don't do artwork for myself. I do it for other people. And I can spend 6 hours a day on a really large, sketch for someone else. I'm not doing it for myself,
In future, could
and
you
I'm enjoying
you take photos of them, please? And then you can show me the photos. And then you at least keep
I've got photos. Huh?
And then you've at least got a record of what you've done.
Yeah, that's a good idea. But I didn't ever really care that much.
No, I'm just being selfish. I just like you to show me the photos of them because I think your art is good. Yeah, but yeah, you have done volunteer work though, haven't you? That sort of thing.
Say that again. I'm sorry.
You have done like volunteer work, I think.
It was not volunteer work. It was just that the job that I chose gave back to the community.
Right.
So I got paid for it, but it was, it was community oriented, as in doing things for the general public.
Well, I think Carrina's been...
there's probably a lot of... Sorry.
Yeah, go on. You were doing something for the general public, I think you said.
Yeah, we talked about this specific example before, and that was the working for the low-income families,
right.
Building stuff for them. Okay, hold on one second.
Okay.
Why did you do that? I'm not the one who dropped it. You did. Lord. Okay.
What? You're bored?
Oh, I'm talking to my sister.
Oh, right, okay.
All right, sorry about that. I'm just going to walk around the other side.
Right, okay. And then you've...
I think you want examples.
Yeah, go on.
I think you want examples of bigger things.
Yeah.
Like I said, I would more reference the things that were...
Even the little things are interesting, though.
Sorry.
Even the little things are good examples because it gives an idea of what the audience can look out for in artisans, the little things, the more subtle things. Okay.
Well, I don't generally talk about my family life to the public, but it's, you'll know that I'm, a single mother. I have 2 kids, so I spend all of my time and thoughts, any action that I do is for them. Okay, so I get up in the morning and I'm thinking about, what they need, food, clothes, stuff like that. And I provide for them in little ways like that. It's not a very interesting example, but that's the most relevant at this point in my life. I know you're wanting more things. I need to think about this for just a second.
Okay.
Okay, I'll give you another example. This is actually an okay example, and you can tell how much I really think about these things, which is almost never because I don't catalog these things to think about later.
Right.
So my sister-in-law has 3 children, and they were the first kids that my sisters and brothers had. So I would help her take care of them when I was a teenager and stuff like that. Well, there came a point in her life where she actually had no place to go, and they were my nieces and nephews, so I had responsibility to them, I thought. So I had them all move into my house, and it wasn't big enough to accommodate all of us. So I moved out and let them have my house.
Wow.
Yeah. And these are things that I don't regret. Like, go ahead.
No, I was just going to say that this is the other side of artisans that people need to recognize. That they're not just hedonists that are good at acting in the moment. They have this generous side to them.
For me, I would have to say that it's about being at the basic level of being a human being, and that is that I think of myself. This is going to sound really strange, but oop! I just got a phone call. Sorry about that.
That's okay.
It's gonna sound strange, but I think of myself as sort of like an animal. It's like I don't care about a lot of things. I care about like basic human needs. When I think of what humans are, I think of the genetic tree, and I think of animals. We're an animalious species. So when I consider problems, I think about how would a human who had almost nothing to survive, how would this person get along? What are the most basic resources that I need to fix this problem? And a lot of times what comes to my mind is shelter, food, human interaction, love, stuff like that. So these are my tools for solving basic problems.
Right. When I asked Jeff about his kindness, he said that to him it was an instinct. Is that sort of like
it
how
is an
you see
instinct?
it? Yeah.
Yeah, it's about being instinctual. It's about just when you're living in the moment, you're just being I don't want to keep calling it an animal because I don't mean it in an animalistic way. I mean it as in literally there are animal species and we're one of them.
Yeah.
And yes, it's about your instincts. It's about survival, I guess. Even saying it's about survival sounds more animalistic than in the way that I mean it. I don't mean it that way. Excuse me.
And then it's got virtuoso, and I think that fits in before what we said about impact. Is that you aspire to do whatever you do that requires skill. You want to do it really well,
Mm-hmm.
and so people can see.
Yeah, and if I don't have the feeling of doing it really, really well, I don't even want to do it.
Right.
I want to be able to be in that moment and be completely into that skill or whatever. I don't know what virtuoso means, but to me that word has more of connotations of like virtuous. What that means, like honor and stuff like that.
I think it just means somebody who is like if someone gives a really good performance, like say a musician, they might say it's a virtuoso performance. I'm just going to check the exact meaning of the word. What we got here? This should. Here we go. Virtuoso, person skilled in technique of an art, especially music. So
Okay.
a highly skilled person, and somebody is seen as highly skilled.
I think the only way that people see me as highly skilled is like when I'm drawing. I don't think,
Yeah.
and, maybe with art because it sort of, poetry sort of kind of flows out of me. But not that I don't indulge in that anymore for some reason. But well, what I mean to say is I don't think of myself that way. Is what I mean to say, except for those two examples I just gave you.
Right. I think. Do you think you've got any other strengths that come to mind?
I mean, I guess nothing's coming to mind, but I would have to say that I think I have a lot of strengths, but
Boldness.
I couldn't think of.
A bold statement.
I mean, I think all people have a lot of strengths, so it's not just about me. Let's see. Oh, yeah, I act in the moment. Like, say if something crazy happens and I have to, like, say, like, I get a rush of adrenaline and something dangerous happens and I have to immediately, like, fix the situation. I've been in this one situation. It was a little bit crazy. Somebody tried to freaking, like, kill me. That's one downfall of being impulsive, by the way, is sometimes you almost get killed.
Yes.
So I had to jump out of a moving vehicle, but I think that what I was the most proud about is that I knew when not to act, and that I waited out, but still very much in the moment till the weak time came and I could act. And yeah, I don't want to go too far into that story, by the way.
Okay.
Just so you know.
So, I think we've covered all the strengths, and that's why I put the table up, folks, is that to sort of like match Carrina against the strengths that David Kersey saw in the artisans. And the reason why I think he was so good at recognizing the artisan strengths is that he worked with them in the school system in America for many, I think maybe a decade or two, where he could see that the school system wasn't best suited for artisans. And
I totally agree with that.
And they need more practical trade schools, and they're more expensive to fund. But practical trade schools are better for artisans. And the way school is set up at the moment, it can make artisans feel as if they're stupid when they're not. And they're very good tactical intelligence, very well at adapting at the moment, thinking on their feet, being creative, and being resourceful in emergencies.
Or even in non-emergencies.
Yes. So, folks, I think that's the end of this one. We might quickly go on to weaknesses. It might be 5 minutes. We'll see how we go.
Didn't we cover enough of those? Can we just conclude this?
Okay, we'll conclude this. So, bye-bye, folks.